Wow, what a powerful face, what a powerful image of this wonderful classical Maya sun god Maskette in imperial jadeite. And I don't use that term loosely. This is the only piece of imperial jadeite I've ever owned, and I've owned thousands and thousands of pieces of jade, and I've auctioned hundreds of pieces of jade, many with heritage auctions and some with Sotheby's. But I've kept some of the better, one or two of the best specimens that I really have come to enjoy, and also a few jewelry pieces that I enjoy wearing. But the classical Maya were masters at jade carving, masters. They drilled it biconically. They drilled it with a tubular drill. They cut it with a fixed blade saw. They cut it with string sawing. They polished it beautifully to the point where modern lapidaries can't really compare with it. And they also did great incising work in jade. And jade's a tough stone, but they incised it beautifully. And this is the sun god mask. So this is the classical sun god that would have been made in Palenque, where it was found, and had been plowed up again in a field there by the farmer. It is missing a little bit of the jade from the collision with the plow. The plow broke it into three pieces here. You can see that this is one piece, this is second piece, and this is third piece. And then it's missing a little sliver here. You can see the icy jade there through the patina. This is a heavily patinated piece. This would have been, again, made between, say, 250 AD and maybe 550 AD. It's a very classical Maya piece. And the sun god is usually depicted with large eyes and a slit through the eyes when it's carved in jade. And again, you see it's missing a little bit of its lower lip, which is real icy there. You can see that icy jade. But it is absolutely beautiful, beautiful, beautiful jadeite. Just unbelievable. This Maskette is probably the finest known Maya sun god Maskette ever discovered. Quite frankly, it certainly is in the way of jade, beautiful imperial jadeite. Now you notice it's been dished out in the back. That's very important because the Maya and the Olmec would dish out the back of their Maskettes. Masks that are flat across the back or have very shallow backing, concavity, those are usually fakes. And there's plenty of fakes out there. Lots of fakes when it comes to Maya, especially Olmec jades, which carry a premium in the marketplace. But this is a wonderful, wonderful jade sun god mask, obviously worn by a king of Palenque. And I'm very proud to own that piece. This is an outstanding apple green jadeite, classical Maya, high classical Maya, Maize God, probably from Copan, looking at the carving style and especially the jade. This is just absolutely beautiful jadeite. Dr. Carl Taba came to visit me here at the house. Virginia Fields, the curator of pre-Columbian art at LACMA, had been down to my house on a couple of occasions to marvel at some of the jades, and she did. She just loved these jades. And as a result, she invited me up to her exhibit at the museum, LA County Museum of Art. Before the exhibit even opened, she gave me an individual guided, personal guided tour of it. But she came down here and visited a couple of times and introduced me to Dr. Carl Taba. Dr. Taba is the foremost Maya jade specialist in the country. He's a professional archaeologist out of UC Riverside. He's written a lot of books on Maya and Olmec jade carvings. And when he came to visit me here at the house, and when he held this in his hand, he turned to me and he goes, "Richard, this was worn by a Maya king." Now remember, jade was the highest prized material that the Maya owned. They didn't own diamonds and they knew nothing about gold. They did not work any metal. They didn't work any gold, they didn't work any silver, they didn't work any metal. They were strictly Stone Age. So the Maya, all the way up till about 900 AD. Once 900 AD comes around, a lot of the grave goods in Costa Rica, they were starting to replace the jade grave offerings with gold around 8 or 900 AD, most likely, right in through that time period. And so the civilizations that lived after the Maya, including the Inca, especially the Inca, would have worked a lot of gold. And in fact, these beads are pre-Columbian gold beads, and they're no doubt from the Inca civilization, not contemporary with the jade pectoral here. So this was a pectoral worn by a Maya king, according to Dr. Taba. And then the necklace was put together with pre-Columbian jade beads and later period gold beads that are absolutely beautiful. And it's just an outstanding, beautiful necklace. Then we have, as a comparison here, a pre-classic carving. You notice the carving isn't anywhere near as beautiful as that carving. That's a classic period carving, say 250 to 550 AD. This would have been around 100 AD to maybe 250 or maybe 250 AD. This is an early pre-classical piece. And it's still of the Maize God. It's just an earlier depiction of the Maize God, the face here, the headdress above. And it's made in just beautiful apple green jade. So the trick in collecting jade, pre-Columbian jade, is to get the beautiful stone with the beautiful carving. Now, in post-classic times, they didn't have any good jade left. The jade we find, say, after 700 AD is usually pretty low quality. And the carving has been much more mass-produced and cheapened by that time. Because now, instead of a biconical bore for their drilling, they're using mainly just a tubular drill and arc drilling to actually make up a good part of their imagery, where these have all been hand-carved. They were masters at carving jade, at incising jade, and engraving jade, and sawing jade with a fixed blade saw, and sawing jade with a string saw. And so they did a lot of drilling and sawing, and they also did an excellent polish. Their polish is unparalleled, really, by modern lapidaries. And then, of course, we have this beautiful Maya dwarf. Now, the Maya dwarf was a much revered individual in the Maya society. The dwarf was felt to have a connection with the gods and was oftentimes an attendant to the king and to nobility. And remember, only nobility in the Maya times wore jade. That was the highest prized stone that they had. And the commoners, artisans and commoners, really couldn't afford jade. This was reserved for the king and the nobleman. And the average person couldn't afford jade. So they wore beads of stone, inferior type stone or different types of stone. And then they also wore beads of shell beads. But the king and the nobleman would be wearing the jade. And here we have this little dwarf. This came with a necklace. Enrique Vargas brought a necklace into the country back in the late 60s, early 70s, fully certified by the Department of Archaeology in Costa Rica. I own the entire necklace. It's a piece of about 40 pieces. They're all apple green and emerald green, carved beads, bird images, pectorals, bangles, and they're beautiful. Well, this dwarf came with it. And there's a complete typewritten archaeological department description of these jades, along with photographs that are part of this original document from the Archaeological Department of Costa Rica. And this was just one of those classical Maya dwarfs that was part of that necklace. Then we have what's more common in jade. What you see in jade all the time when it comes to Maya jades is this very common green and white speckled jade. Green and white speckled jade, most by far, Maya jade carvings are made out of this green and white speckled jade. This is a Neba, N-E-B-A-J, Guatemala style. This is a classical Maya style. Most Neba jade carvings are large plaques with seated lords and oftentimes dwarf attendants. This is a dwarf attendant with his eye here, his frowning mouth there. He has his arm in a gift-giving gesture, and he's a hunchback. And he's sitting on a throne. So he's seated on a throne as a hunchback facing left, Neba style, high classic, around probably 300 to 500 AD in Neba, Guatemala. So we know the region where this came from, and this was a pectoral that was worn probably by a king as well. So I just wanted to share with you today some of the beautiful jades that the Maya produced and how they produced these effigies with their excellent carving techniques.